game does not save any memory card files, so you have to reset the options each time. This is Virtua Fighter 10th Anniversary on PS2. This is the North American version, which is on the Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution disc. You load up VF4 Evolution, you go to Option Special from the main menu there, and it'll ask you if you want to save, then it'll ask you if you want to launch Virtua Fighter 10th Anniversary. This game uses the Virtua Fighter 4 characters and animations, but in a Virtua Fighter 1 style setting. So that sounds weird, you'll see what I mean. In arcade mode, I have to set this to hard. It's very hard, but it's too hard. There's two fixed routes of enemies you can fight in arcade mode. There's VF1 route, which is just characters who appeared in the first Virtua Fighter game. Then there's the Evolution route, which includes characters from all of the Virtua Fighter games. The new characters who showed up in Virtua Fighter 2, 3, 4, and 4 Evolution, as well as Akira from Virtua Fighter 1. So we'll do the VF1 route first, and I think it's ready to go. I do have the sound in this game, first of all, is set pretty loud at default max volume. And then the background music, some of the tracks have really loud, like, bass beats or something. It was really freaking my ears out, so I had to set the background music volume down to half level. It's not something I generally have problems with in games, but you know, first time for everything. So tonight I am playing Mr. Jeffry McWild, Fisherman, hobby reggae music, 6 foot tall, which is an inch taller than Wolf, which is also an inch taller than Akira, and just as tall as Jackie. I think he grows in Virtua Fighter 5 and gets taller, but for now he's the same height as Jackie. There are two models for each character done in the Virtua Fighter 1 style, kind of. I don't know if Virtua Fighter 1 had two models for each character or just one. I suspect it had just one, but I don't know. I haven't played Virtua Fighter 1. So, oh, and Jeffrey practices the pancratium as it's spelled in Virtua Fighter. If you look it up on Wikipedia, it's pancration with an N and a K. It's supposedly ancient Greek wrestling, basically. So I guess that's about it. Let's go. I just played Jeffrey a little bit in Virtua Fighter 4 Kumite mode, and I found him really easy to use. Just in terms of just his buttons kind of doing what I wanted them to do. So pretty intuitive. Oh, so that giant low gravity jumps are a Virtua Fighter 1 style thing. I didn't realize Jackie had these weird white gloves. Maybe she just stand out right now for some reason. I'm recording this at only 30 frames per second instead of 60 because there's a gross 60 hertz red and white flicker in the health meters when somebody takes damage in this game. It wasn't there in the old Virtua Fighter games, so I don't know why they added it, and it's a horrible flickering effect, and I don't like it. So I record at 30 frames per second so that it just becomes a solid thing instead of a flicker. And I keep a t-shirt draped over that part of the screen on my end here, So I can't actually see how much health people have, or at the moment I can't even see who's won rounds, and I can't see the timer. So if weird stuff happens because I can't tell what's going on, that's why. But it saves my eyeballs a little flickering and headaches and stuff, so that's good. Well, I should have been experimenting with buttons and stuff. The first 3 matches in this game are just really easy. The AI basically does nothing, even though I have it set on hard.
Fight 1.
And you face the enemies are always in the same characters in the same order, so that means that you'll never fight an actually decent Jeffry or decent Sarah here, because she's stuck on stage 3 where she has to play like a Muppet. No offense, but it's a Muppets. She has to play like a dummy, basically.
Ready? Go!
Hit me a couple times. That was good. I forget everything I was actually doing with Jeffry in Virtua Fighter 4 yesterday, because I'm short-term memory like that. Well, I think part of what became the problem was I was just doing basic stuff, which worked great up to about first Dan rank, or well, actually first Q rank, which is the one before first Dan. And
Fight 1.
I think I basically went like undefeated right up to first Q, and then I went on a big losing streak. It was rough. And it was particularly so this is stage 4, and the AI actually does stuff. Dang, I wanted to knock him off. Oh, how did he, what? Man, he's getting feisty. Well, that was the wrong thing to do. I don't know. I was trying back plus kick for some reason, and I don't know what I thought that was going to accomplish. Ooh, juggle. One thing I'm bad at doing, because it doesn't work well in most of the other Virtua Fighter games I have, is attacks on characters I've knocked down. Can't really do them after throws, but like here you could do that, but he's already dead, so it doesn't matter. That's up plus punch, or is it up forward? Something like that. Every character can do that. Jeffry, I just did his down or down forward plus kick attack on it. Oh, see, he's too fast. But I didn't get counterattacked or anything, which is the important part. Did that stagger me? I think that move would normally stagger in a normal Virtua Fighter game, but there is no stagger indicator in this game, come to think of it. I don't know if that means there are staggers, and you just can't tell you're staggered, or if there aren't staggers. There aren't side steps, so you can only go backwards and forward except for certain moves, and like you can roll to the side when you get up if you want. There's no animation if you miss a throw, which weirds me out. It's just like you didn't push the buttons at all. Wow. Normally I have a little trouble against Pi because she's so fast, and this game I realized who was I having trouble with? Who did I just play? Gosh dang it. Oh, Kage. I just played Kage Maru and I had a super hard time against Pi. And I think it's because, like, just normal movement in this game, like dashing, is slow. It's even hard to just get away from somebody after you knock them down. See, like, she took her time getting up. So Kage relies on speed and mobility, but in this game you lose a big chunk of that mobility. So I had a really tough time with him against Pi, who's just kind of the fastest all-around character. But Jeffry, I'm surprised I didn't have any trouble against my... Jeffry actually has pretty fast punches. Whoa. It feels more or less the same as... That's gonna hurt. As he was in VF4. I think I just did see a new sort of two-punch thing from him
Ready? Go!
in that last round. Even to me, I mean. See, I'm trying to throw, but there's no whiff throw, so you just see me like vibrating from the guard button, basically. It's annoying. I guess it's because VF1 probably didn't have throw whiff animation. See, there I should have done an attack on his prone body, and I might have won. For all I know, I can't see the health bars, and now I lost.
Finished. Not yet.
But it's true, because I can continue. He's like, come on, man, continue, do it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Jeffry's a big, lovable dude. At least before Virtua Fighter 5. Virtua Fighter 5, they make him look scary. In 4, and I guess in 4 Evolution, or at least in this weird version of 4 Evolution, that is 10th Anniversary, it's a big, lovable teddy bear, basically. Well, that worked. In other territories, Virtua Fighter 10th Anniversary was separate from Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. In Japan, I've read it was a separate retail disc, possibly in limited numbers. Jeez, he got a better throw than I did. And in Europe, it apparently was only available as a pre-order bonus, maybe for Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. I don't know, but apparently it was really hard to get in Europe. But in the States, it was just on the VF4 Evolution disc, which was a pretty sweet deal. I admit I overlooked it when I first got Evolution back in the day. I thought it was a weird, I don't know, just gimmick or something. I didn't really get it. And I mean, I was more into like the quest mode type of thing. So, and all this has is this kind of fixed arcade mode, so it admittedly doesn't have a whole lot of replay value exactly, because you always fight the same NPCs in the same order. The first 3 are more or less useless, and the difficulty is not all that high. This is on hard. There is very hard, but I played very hard, and it's not insane.
Time's up. Fight 2.
And I mean, I'm no good at Virtua Fighter, so if anybody who's any good would just plow right through this in about 5 minutes. But I am playing this instead of Evolution because Evolution has a bright flashing effect when characters hit each other. And VF4 Vanilla, the initial VF4 version, has that effect too, but you can actually turn it off. And VF5 and VF5 Final Showdown have a flash effect when characters are hit also, but it's a lot less bright than in Evolution. And kind of bugs my eyes a little in Evolution, so just steer clear of that. I never really got into Evolution back in the day either, because I was really liked Virtua Fighter 4, the first version, a lot. And so when Evolution came along, I kind of resented it a little. I kind of saw it as just a sort of remix of 4 for no real good reason. They changed the lighting in all the stages, and they nerfed Vanessa pretty bad,
Excellent.
which I was super not happy with. And they took out the AI mode, which was one of my favorite things to do.
Ready?
So I sort of resented Evolution for those reasons and didn't play it a whole lot. One thing too that, from an actual gameplay point of view, annoys me a little in Evolution is they took what was Kumite mode in VF4. Oh, I just beat the boss, by the way. That's Akira.
I'm the winner.
Yeah, that went smoothly. I kind of do better when I'm playing subconsciously. Akira was the boss of the VF1 mode. Now you'll see in the lower right this is the bonus stage, not the final stage, as it said for Akira. So this is Dural. She's technically not the boss. She's the bonus character, and you can't continue if she beats you. Dural stands for down, up, right, A button, left, which was the code to play as her in the original Virtua Fighter 1 game.
Time's up.
Oops. Did I lose because of that? That was sick.
Two. Ready?
I can't tell.
Go.
Too far away to throw. This is going poorly. Too many punches. Oh, throw from behind. Yeah, backbreaker.
KO.
Sweet. Now is that it, or do I have to go another?
Three.
Oh, dang it.
Ready? Go.
I was having a real hard time beating Dural on hard for a long time, but lately I've maybe been able to beat her 30 or 50% of the time.
KO.
Oh, not today. She was kind of on turbo speed there. Well, that's too bad.
It's not yet finished.
Actually, it is. Can't continue. Sorry, buddy. It doesn't matter whether you beat her or not. You go to this, which I think is the same as the credit sequence in, the background part of this. The credit sequence in Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, although I think I've just seen that in a video or something. Anyway, it's sort of hologram versions of you beating your final hit in all the fights you won as you got here. It's kind of cool. And then you have a list of all the Virtua Fighter games in arcade and on console up to Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. So that playthrough went super well, aside from that last round with Dural, basically. I kind of thought it would, because Jeffry, like I said in Virtua Fighter 4, I just cruised through Kumite mode up to first Dan or first Q rank. I went up in ranks up to that point way faster than I had with any other character. I'm almost done playing through all the characters for the first time. I only have Pi and Akira left. And I think after that, the next thing I'll do is go through
Game over.
the actual command training for the characters, so I will learn the rest of their moves. Right now, I'm just sort of pressing buttons and seeing what happens. So that was the VF1 route. And then there is the Evolution route. which I usually have more trouble in the VF1 route because it has Pi and Lao and Akira as the boss. And I just have more trouble with them than most of the other characters. Do the other Jeffry model. You know, in Virtua Fighter 4, you can unlock a Virtua Fighter 1 style model for the characters when you get to first Dan rank.
Excellent.
And I did that with Jeffry last night, and his
Fight 2. Ready?
in that game at least, his VF1 model is just so much skinnier than his just huge barrel-chested VF4 model, and it was just so weird. I felt like this tiny little weedy twig. I don't know if they beefed him up a tiny bit in this. Beefed up the model a little. It's got a little bit of a abdominal bulge there, but in 4, the VF1 model is super skinny. It's only VF4 doesn't, I don't think, have this model, this costume model. It just had the one I was just playing, costume-wise.
Excellent.
So that was Akira in round 1. He's from Virtua Fighter 1. This is Lion, who first appeared in Virtua Fighter 2.
Out.
Yeah. I keep forgetting to do attacks on down characters. That is a big oversight because it's basically free damage. In even in VF4, it's kind of risky to do down attacks a lot of the time, but in this game, man, they're kind of free money usually. Shun B here is the other character who was new to VF2. Whoops! Yeah, I did get counterattack there. I like the lighting in this stage.
Fight 2. Ready?
I think the VF1 stage was kind of like this, and actually the background bitmaps, you know, the city in the background in the actual arcade VF1 were much more high resolution. One thing that was a little jankier looking in VF1 was the shadows, which were just dithered pixels, you know, sort of checkerboard patterns. It wasn't actual transparency on the character shadows.
Fight 1. Ready? Go!
Also, VF1 apparently only ran at 30 frames per second in the arcade. This game does run at 60 on a PS2. I'm just, as I said, not recording it at 60 because of that stupid flickering effect in the health meters. Oh, Owie was a new character in Virtua Fighter 3. And this is stage 4, so the AI actually fights back. And Owie is a character who I never have gotten a feel on. That sounds wrong. Never really figured out, so she tends to hit me a lot. Or throw me a lot, or kind of whatever she wants to do.
Time's up.
Down attack. Did I win?
Fight 3.
I don't know.
Ready?
Is that in the first round? No, I can't remember. Just gotta win this round, that's all I know. Oh no! Oh, you can't really enter throws. I should do better throws. Oh, that was supposed to be a throw.
It's thanks.
Bad input.
Fight 1. Ready? Go!
Yo, oh, too fast. Too fast with the hands. They did nerf Ali's kick from Virtua Fighter 4. And VF4, she just had this ridiculous kick, like super long range. It could actually hit twice, once on the way up and once on the way down. She kicked so high and just nuts.
Ready?
And they nerfed it pretty good in Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, and then they continued to nerf it in VF5. So I think for my future Ali playing, I'm just gonna stick to VF4 for her because I really like that kick. And it sort of allowed Ali to be played as a brawler, whereas I think they wanted her to be played more as this finesse character, like she has become in Final Showdown. I can't really play her very well at all in Final Showdown. Been getting a little better against Lei Fei lately. I used to be terrible against him because I would never know when to stop trying to hit him and just block. Because of all his swirling stances. I was a little lucky. I wasn't quite done, but I managed to grab him. Oh, dang it.
I'm the winner!
Kind of a... what's that football award?
Ready?
Anyway, kind of a trophy pose there. Heisman, that's the one. Kind of a Heisman pose, right? Can't remember now. Ow! I don't want to throw. Poor Vanessa got so nerfed. They took away her cool uniform, or her cool costume. Now she's just, both her costumes are just these big, dumb, bulky, military garb things. They took away her Muay Thai boxing, gave it to that jerk Brad. We'll see in a moment. Vanessa was new to Virtua Fighter 4. She and Lei Fei. That's why we're facing them here. And next is the two Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution new characters. And one is the aforementioned Brad, who stole Vanessa's Muay Thai. Because Vanessa has two styles. One was Muay Thai and the other was Vale Tudo, or I don't know if I'm saying that right. And they took away Muay Thai and just kind of gave her two flavors of Vale Tudo. I should really look up how to pronounce that.
Fight 2. Ready? Go!
I'm still not doing down attack. Do it, yeah. Dong, I love the dong. Love the dong, yeah, that's what I said. Oh, that was a whiffed throw attempt at first there. Right there, there's a whiff.
Fight 3. Ready? Go!
Ooh. Wait a second, did he beat me in round 1? That's embarrassing. Oops. Let's not put down attack. That was not nothing. Ow. Alrighty, so next stage is the 8th stage and the boss of this route, which is not Akira. We fought him in round 1. This time around, it's the other Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution new character, which is Go Hinagami.
Go!
His hooded costume. I don't usually have as much trouble against him as I do against Akira in the VF1 route. He can be super tricky, like so. That actually wasn't super tricky, that was just me being slow.
KO!
That was easy.
Fight 2! Ready? Go!
That's actually funny. Whoop! Whoop! Too slow to get the down throw in, and the down attack in.
KO!
Gee, I forget if Jeffry can throw prone characters. Should have been trying that.
I'm the winner.
You can throw crouching characters. Alright, second try against Dural. Second bite of the cherry, as British sportscasters would say. Oh, well, that's not a cherry I want to bite. Ow. Oh, she's a different color now, isn't she? She's kind of a bronze instead of the steel. Hey, ow.
KO!
Wow. That's fine. It's just, oh gosh.
Fight 2! Ready? Go!
Okay. That's a bit of a setback. Still defying the laws of physics, man. Supposedly, Kage's mom.
Time's up!
Did I do it?
Fight 3!
Did.
Ready? Go!
Just barely remembered that last punch. Oh, I see. I was thinking, is there another punch there? I'm getting too freaked out. Too many attacks.
Time's up!
I did it. Huzzah. I'm the best. But you'll see it just goes to the same ending anyway. So, Jeffrey felt pretty much exactly the same. Of course, I'm just doing the most obvious possible moves you could do with Jeffrey, so I'm sure there are plenty of changes between 4 and 4 Evolution for Jeffrey if you actually know how to play Jeffrey. But I don't yet. It's just my first time with Jeffrey, and I'm just hitting buttons and seeing what happens. Next time I will do command training. I don't think I'll be playing 10th Anniversary much more after I go through it with Akira and Pi, but I will be playing these characters more in VF4, VF5, and 5 Final Showdown. Speaking of which, next for Jeffrey in Virtua Fighter play for me will be Jeffrey in Quest mode of Virtua Fighter 5, and probably be more obvious changes to Jeffrey from this game to that game than there were between 4 and this game, which I didn't really see any changes. But as I said, I don't really know what I'm doing with Jeffrey. I'm just hitting buttons and punching people, which is kind of what Jeffrey seems to be good at. So I'll be following that same approach with Jeffrey in Quest mode of Virtua Fighter 5, and I invite you to come along for that one, coming up soonish. And even if you don't, thanks for watching this little video all the way through. and I don't know, go Jeffry McWild.